Hi, and welcome back to Kimberly Grace's Stories podcast. I'm Kimberly, and I want to thank all my listeners for tuning in to hear my stories. Today, you're in for a special treat as we hear my latest flash fiction story, Weight Limits. Sorry, ma'am, but you're going to have to get off. The lap bar won't close properly. Alice blinked through hot tears. She knew the ride attendant was speaking to her, but for some reason, she stayed seated for a moment longer. Not a second later, and the snickering and loud whispers sailed across the other roller coaster cars, landing squarely on Alice's back. Her 10-year-old daughter, Isabella, remained quiet as they silently made their way off the ride and back down the long ramp. Given this was the third time it had happened today, Alice knew Isabella wouldn't throw a fit about not being able to ride the roller coaster. In fact, she had told her mom that it was okay, but that actually made Alice feel more guilty. As if reading her mother's mind, Isabella patted Alice's arm softly and offered more reassurance. It's okay, Mom. I'd much rather go to the water park instead. Can we? The genuine, hopeful look reflecting in her daughter's bright blue eyes almost made Alice forget how ashamed she felt for being too overweight to ride the roller coaster. At least she could hide under an umbrella in the shade and watch her daughter have fun in the pool. Thankfully, Isabella was an excellent swimmer and even made a few friends with the female lifeguards. Alice nodded her head and let a small smile escape when Isabella pumped her fist enthusiastically into the air. Alice did not want to hold her daughter back from having fun. They made their way over to the pool area after applying another round of sunscreen and changing into their bathing suits. Alice had originally intended on staying in her clothes, but Isabella insisted quite persistently that her mom put hers on too. Relief flooded Alice's body after she spotted the last open spot under the shade close to the pool entrance. She had just settled herself down and was fishing for her cozy beach romance novel from their pool bag when her daughter's words caught her by great surprise. Come on, Mom. Come swim with me. I want to show you my water flips. Brittany taught me how to do a front flip and is going to show me how to do a back flip today. Alice froze with her one hand still lingering in the bag. She hated to disappoint her daughter, but after the humiliation she had faced several times over today, Alice was ready for a break from it all. As if right on cue, a few teenage boys walked by and pointed at her. Right after they passed, Alice could hear them say the words whale and huge as they broke out into loud laughter. She tightened her lips and closed her eyes. When she opened them, her daughter stood there tapping her foot impatiently for an answer. Clearly, her determined daughter had somehow missed what the boys had said. Alice tried to think of a gentle response that would dissuade her insistent daughter. Honey, I'd love to see your flip sometime, but right now Mommy needs a little rest, okay? She watched as Isabella nodded her head slowly and turned to walk away. Alice's heart squeezed after seeing the hurt look in her eyes. That exchange definitely could have gone better, but there was nothing Alice could do about it now. She also knew Isabella would likely forget all about it as soon as she met up with her lifeguard friend, Brittany. Alice had retrieved her romance book and was about to remove the bookmark when a calm, sweet voice spoke up from her left side. Excuse me, I don't mean to intrude, but I couldn't help but notice what just happened with those immature boys. If you want to take a swim with your daughter, you should. Don't let others steal your joy. You deserve to enjoy today. Alice sat frozen in place. The lady offered a sweet, kind smile and then got off her lounge chair to go into the pool. Not that it mattered, but Alice noticed the woman was also plus size, just not quite as big as her. She watched with admiration as the woman threw her head back, letting out a loud, unabated, carefree laugh. She must have noticed Alice watching and gave her an encouraging wave for her to come join her. Alice bit her bottom lip in hesitation. On the one hand, the temperature was soaring today, and a quick dip in the water would feel rather refreshing. Yet Alice noticed a group of boys from earlier hanging around the lifeguard stand. They were probably more interested in trying to impress the pretty lifeguard, but still, Alice worried they would cause another scene with her as a target. Alice let out a deep sigh and contemplated the woman's words again. She clung to the freedom they held and not caring about what others thought about her. Alice desperately wanted that for herself. Suddenly, she found herself standing up, and the surprise of her actions caused her veins to course with newfound adrenaline. Without taking another moment to allow doubt or regret to try and creep in, Alice made her way swiftly over to the pool entrance and took a few hesitant steps down the stairs. She kept her gaze on her new friend, who was now dancing with excitement upon seeing that Alice was about to enter the pool. On the count of 3, she forced herself to dive into the cool, refreshing water. Alice slipped onto her back and floated over next to the woman. Her new friend leaned down closer and whispered a question that Alice felt like she had been waiting to finally answer in this way for her whole life. How do you feel? Weightless. That concludes the end of my story. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I really would appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, and comment on my post. Please share it with those who you think would enjoy my story. Now I'm going to share a quick reflection and devotional. There are 2 Bible verses that I feel encompass the story. The first one is Psalm 139, 13 through 14. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well. And the second verse is Galatians 1:10. Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. And now for my reflection. Weight can be a very delicate topic, especially for women. We are bombarded with images constantly depicting how we are supposed to look in society. Yet, the majority of us look nothing like the models. Yes, there has been some progress over the years, and we do now see more women of various sizes modeling. But largely, the message remains that thin women are what is desirable. Perhaps this topic is a little closer to home since I have found it harder to maintain the weight I had once held almost easily for the first few decades of my life. It gets a lot harder to keep the weight off as we age. I believe midlife is the most difficult time. Our bodies are changing, and life tends to throw more stressful curveballs than we can anticipate. That's why I think it's important to give ourselves grace and love who we are. I may never get back to my pre-baby weight, and that's okay. God created us all fearfully and wonderfully made. He loves us no matter how much we weigh, and is faithful to help us through all the roller coaster seasons of life. Amen.